welcome to Cocktails and Convo. My name is Sherelle Desire, owner, designer, curator of S Desire brand, a luxury loungewear lifestyle brand. We come here for Cocktails and Convo so that we can get into some things, okay? And tonight I actually have a mocktail. This is a lavender sugar-free mocktail topped with club soda, mint, and one of my dehydrated lemons. So it's very delicious, refreshing, and it's gonna be a sober episode, okay, baby? Okay, so I miss you ladies, I miss you ladies, I miss you ladies. So last time I was here, I was a little sick, so excuse that episode, but we got what we needed to get done because we're gonna show up here no matter what. Thank you guys for watching the episode, supporting the channel. Make sure you subscribe. We're almost at 200 subscribers. And I'm literally documenting this whole journey because listen, it's time. So we're almost at 200 subscribers, so let's get here. And then one day we will be saying we almost at 200,000 subscribers. So let's get into it, okay? Tonight's episode, honey, we're gonna get into some things. So we hear the term decentering men, but I think that is a bit toxic for the extreme notion of it. I more so want to say let's decenter desperation. Decenter desperation, because it's not the men that are always the problem. If you actually do self-awareness and self-evaluation, it's probably your desperation. And I'm saying this with love and from experience, okay? So what I want to actually get into is decentering desperation, poor pussy management, and the power in celibacy. So first I want to get into the whole decentering desperation, because I think that is something that a lot of women don't actually mention. And this is for the girls. I'm not here for the semantics of men and all. We are here for women empowerment, women elevation. So we are only going to be talking from the perspective of a woman, and this is from me speaking from experience, from what I've seen, and what's going on, and also just the fact that a dating pool has piss and poop in it. It's actually very empowering to actually have this conversation, because it's so bad, it has caused women to normalize desperation as in feeling empowered or liberated and all of these things that really don't mean shit. Because if you are functioning from a level of desperation, then that is a low vibration and it's a low frequency, causing you to make bad decisions and actually exhibiting poor pussy management. All right, so we get into some things, girls. I hope you got your cocktails. Get ready, because it's about to be one of them nights. All right, okay, so now I don't know, I might put a little story time in here without oversharing, because it has to be a very, very fine line in between me actually coming in here and talking and opening my throat chakras, because God has so much on my heart that he wants me to share, and if I'm not obedient, it's going to be a problem. So I am trying to find a very healthy medium between living in my purpose and actually not oversharing. So sometimes the stories are from personal experience, sometimes it's from other people's experiences, so I have something to pull from. Everyone stays nameless. Everyone stays nameless, okay? But this is all for educational purposes and motivational purposes, okay? All right, no judgment. So when women are desperate, we tend to make bad decisions. We tend to overlook the red flags. We tend to devalue ourselves. Let's talk about it. Was it a time that you were so desperate for companionship, you were so desperate for intimacy, you were so desperate for just to feel something, that you made a decision that wasn't in your best self? It wasn't an example of the best version of yourself, and if you look back at it, you probably learn that wasn't the best decision. Whether you regret it or you're ashamed of it, either way, you would do it better if you had an opportunity to do it again, right? So one of the things that, from personal experience, that I know, and to correlate into the whole poor pussy management sector, it was when I felt like I was in a position where I wanted a relationship so bad. I felt like it was mandatory to have a relationship. Like, oh, you're not valuable if someone doesn't pick you, and that was like a notion that I struggled with in my 20s. So any of my girls in your 20s, your 30s, and you're trying to kind of find yourself and you're trying to elevate yourself, and hopefully I can help you from making some desperate choices. And I remember wanting a relationship so bad, and I met somebody. It's like, oh my God, man, this is before the whole manifestation term was, popularized. And I met this guy. We hit it off real fast. It just moved too fast, but it felt so good. Like, it felt like, oh yeah, this is it. This is what it's supposed to be. He wanted to marry me and all of these things, but he had all of the red flags. Like, literally, I could have played a game with the red flags that was that was in the situation. I could have played fetch with my dog with them red flags, okay? So, but in my desperation, I was so desperate to have companionship and a relationship and to feel chosen that I overlooked them and share my energy, share my body, share my home, share all these things with this man. And he was nothing but like a demonic force. And when a man is a demonic force in your life is when he come around and you lose yourself. You gain weight, you're not as pretty as you was before he came, you're not as focused as you was. He's a big distraction. He loves to distract you. And even at that time, I was in my 20s, I had a business, and I was trying to do things at night because I was working full time, and I would try to work on my business at night, and he would come to bed. He would always try to distract me and get me under him, get me distracted and get me pregnant and all of these things. And thank God, I got out of that situation. But that was probably one of the worst deep depressions that I was in, besides when I lost my sister. So I fell into a real deep depression, and it empowered me and inspired me so much to transform myself. Girls, I talk a lot about transformation. I've been transforming my life since I was 15 years old. So I said, oh, this was another motivation for me to transform myself. But when I look back at it, I got into that deep depression, and I made that such a bad choice in a man because of my desperation. And I'm gonna keep it real with you. If I was to turn the clock, I would never do that now. Like, now I move so much slower. I really, really monitor these men. I monitor them as much as I can. I take heed of everything they do, even if, like, some things I silently take note of. And this is just a tip from what I learned from my past. Like, if it's a red flag, I'll take note of it and I move accordingly. So if I see the red flag, then I already know there's a scoreboard, pretty much, like an imaginary scoreboard. So you start taking scores away and you try to see how people carry with you. Like, all right, this man is like this and he has this kind of baggage. Okay, I'm not going to allow him to have this type of access to me. He communicates this way, so then I know how to communicate with him, so it's not tearing at my soul. He has narcissist, personality traits, because I don't like labeling people just straight up narcissists, but I feel like especially a lot of men, especially good looking men, they have a lot of narcissist traits. And with narcissist traits, the only way to deal with it is to not go against it, like to remove yourself. Because if he sees that his narcissist traits, you're going to endure them and mold yourself around their narcissist ways, it's just going to make the monster more bigger and badder. So these are some of the things I learned with age and how to deal with particular men. When you're trying to get to know them and you don't want to necessarily change them, you're trying to learn them and you're trying to really take your time and see if this is a situation that I can stick through. And when I took away the desperation energy, I was able to mentally have this capability to think logically. And the only way, and I'm sorry if you are hot in the panties, the only way to logically date is to remove sex out of the situation. To me, celibacy is so powerful. If you have never abstained from sex, and I'm not saying I'm celibate till I'm married, but whatever, we can call it abstinence, we can call it celibacy, whatever you want to do. Celibacy is merely for sex. You could be abstinent from alcohol and food, so that's the difference between the two. But people love to argue on the internet about the difference. So with celibacy, you're able to actually, to me, renew your spirit and your mind and get mental clarity, so that when you are dating, the desperation is gone. Because sometimes we be desperate because we want some. We be desperate because we want some physical intimacy. We might not even want the man quiet as his cat. We might just, I just need feel something. And it's crazy because when I started to really elevate myself, and I started to realize, like, even the men that I thought that I physically wanted, I didn't even want anymore. Like, it wasn't fulfilling at all. Like, having casual sex, it does not benefit women at all. And I wish women just stop giving themselves up casually. Stop doing that. Stop giving your energy. You see how valuable we are if you really, really look deep into the soul, the spirit of the womb. Let's talk about the womb, the power in your womb. Protect your womb because it's so powerful. If you really think about it, people are not trafficking people for sexual things if it wasn't valuable. So you're here as a woman, educated woman, whatever education level you on, you're a woman that in some way you provide for yourself. And if you really think about, wow, I'm about to give my womb, my body, my spirit, because it's not just your body, it's spiritual elements to sex. I'm about to give this to a man who probably don't even love himself, don't even like himself, don't even take care, probably don't even wash his ass that good, probably don't even go to the dentist to get the tartar off his teeth, probably don't even brush his tongue. Like, I'm literally about to share my spirit. You somebody who practice spiritual health, you're working out, you're eating good, you're cleansing, you're doing all these things to be amazing, and then you meet this man, and because you're desperate, you're okay with giving your body and lowering your value spiritually and physically. When a man is physical with you, he's inputting his energy onto you. That's why when you attach yourself to people, men particularly too, and it don't even have to be that it was a sexual transaction that happened. It could just be an energetic transaction that happened, and you get with this man, and all of a sudden your money get fucked up. Like, all of a sudden your money is lowering, or things, your car breaking down. It's always something left or right. I'm pretty sure it's that man in your life that you're giving your energy or your body or your spirit to, your attention to. I'm pretty sure it's him. Like, once you really elevate spiritually, you start to see the real in dating. I think we were so programmed and lied and bamboozled to value relationships so much that we never learned the importance of ourselves and morals and integrity and all these important things that we're really supposed to be looking at when it comes to men. We just wanted to be chosen. And when you take away that desperation and you really start to work on yourself, you don't so much crave these interactions with men that are really going to be detrimental to you. That's going to suck you dry. That's going to be a drain to you if it's not the right person. If you're dating out of desperation, you're most likely going to end up with somebody that's going to drain you. It's just, it's 1 + 1 = 2. Like, it's evident. Like, it's going to happen. And I feel like once I elevated, and this coming back to me and my self-awareness and my self-evaluation and me being, keeping myself accountable, my self-accountability. When I really started to elevate, I did not see sex in this pleasurable way. I saw it more as currency, energetic currency. and I'm not about to deposit in anybody's bank, okay? I'm about to shop to see what's the best bank, honey. What's the best bank I can get my value? Let's get into it. What's the best bank I can get my interest on my dividends doubled? No, I'm not depositing in that bank. There's a cash check in place. That's key. There's other ways, you know, to gain intimacy that does not involve sharing your body with somebody. I really feel like if you have never had any time to be celibate, to just pretty much renew yourself, your womb, your body, your spirit, I would say give it 12, at least, I don't know, people do 12 months. Some people really hot in the panties. But that's one thing I learned with growing up and like having different friends. Like I noticed some friends looked at sex as it was like, oh, I can't go without sex for too long, and they kind of talk like that, and it never really resonated with me. But when they said it, I was like, oh, maybe I should, you know, think like that too. You know, if you don't use it, you'll lose it. You know, type of conversation. And I look back at it, was like, oh, some of them those girlfriends had poor pussy management. That's why they couldn't. They had poor pussy management. I look back at it like, oh, now I see, you know. So if you're naturally a person who probably could navigate a little bit easier without sharing your body, kudos to you. If you're somebody a little hotter in the pants, I would say, I don't know, I feel like that's low vibrational. Sorry. I really, and no judgment, I just really feel like if you feel like sharing your body casually, now I just don't see how you're getting value from that. I feel like you can cause so much deficit in your life by sharing your body so casually, so meaninglessly. And maybe just with age, you might not see it until age. You might not be in the vibration to receive that. But honestly, there's no benefit to it. And I'm 40 years old. You can never tell me like, oh, this guy, nobody, ain't nothing to be giving up something that I value so much. When you raise your self-value, you are not going to want to share that with anybody. Trust me. Not somebody who's not really showing up for you, who's not a king in your life, somebody who's not really on your level. You're not. I could be talking to somebody for 6 months and don't get them none. Because the vibration it's not giving what it's supposed to give. Legs stay closed. Like, what's up? We can have a conversation. We can see if things are going to develop. We can see if things are going to elevate within this time frame. But if it's not, it's going to stay stagnant. Because I'm not going to give it up. I'm just not. And I was watching the documentary that just came out about Megan Thee Stallion, and she's a good example of poor pussy management, and she's still young, and she lost her family, like, you know. And I understand going through grieving. There was a point in grieving where I felt like, oh, I need to sex this pain away, because I was so numb from grieving. I literally wanted to, like, oh, who can I, you know, call type of situation. And thank God it wasn't nobody worth my time, because I would have been making so many bad mistakes just on the strength of me being depressed and grieving. And some man would have took advantage of me and took my soul and my pride and my self-respect. And if it wasn't for me going on that 21-day transformation that I did when I was grieving, that helped me, I would have been in a darker, deeper place. I don't even want to. It really could go bad, and that's what I'm saying when I'm transitioning the conversation to Meg Thee Stallion. She went through a whole salacious thing where she got shot in the foot by some man that she was having sex with, that she actually lied to say she didn't have sex with because she was probably ashamed. And on a documentary, she's like, oh yeah, I had sex with him once or twice, so what? I was drunk. And I'm like, you know, and I think I understand that's her story, and she's speaking her truth. But for a young woman around, it's not just that, oh, I was drunk, you know, all this drink, like I'm about to get deep. They program y'all to drink, to be loose with your body, to forget about your morals and your integrity and your self-respect. Those girls are promoting that, whether they want to or not. Whenever they sign they name on them contracts, that's what they're signing up for. And I'm so sad about that, because of social media, they get more access to that, and then they think it's okay. So all the girls like, oh, I was drunk, so what if I fucked him? So what? It matters. That body didn't matter. Like, that transaction still happened, whether you want to say if you was drunk or not. That's why all of that is just a low vibration, because if it wasn't for you drinking, maybe you wouldn't have made that decision. And if you wasn't so desperate to be in an energy that wasn't really in line with you probably wouldn't even have sex with that person. And then on top of that, drinking lowers your self-value and the decisions that you make about your self-value. And I say this to all girls: if you're dating, especially at your first, second date, don't drink. And I'm speaking for example. Do not drink. That a lot of men have tendencies to be predators. They will try to take advantage of you. And I feel like a side of you will come out that's not necessarily a true side of you. If you are a little desperate to find love or something like that, when you drink, you're going, like, you might be a little more flirtatious. You might be a little bit more forgiving if he touch your leg or something like that. You might, and it might lead to other things that you don't really want to happen. And I highly recommend, do not drink on the first or the second date if you can, especially if you ain't really hit it off yet. Don't drink on the second date. Just really be like that sober girl. Like, listen, no, you know, because that intimidates men. They be like, oh damn, she got discipline. If he see that you have discipline and you have a high self-value, they gonna show up differently. And I feel like a lot of more women need to take pride in that. Don't be so desperate to have this man's attention. Don't be so desperate to be chosen. Decenter desperation. And sometimes people don't realize they're desperate. And I get it. You know, I never really thought about me being desperate until I actually did the self-work. But it is a sense of desperation. That I was even online dating at some point. Like, what the hell was that? And I was just like, so like, okay, it was COVID. Let's see what's out here. That was the most low vibrational thing a woman can do, is be on an online dating site. Let me tell you, being online dating is a big old desperation sign on your goddamn forehead. And the ones that the predators that's on there see it, and they like, oh yeah, baby. They're going to tell you whatever you want to hear. And even if you don't want to hear it, they are going to discuss you. Whatever interaction you're going to get is going to be very low effort, breadcrumbs, and I would not suggest that. And just kind of getting into the whole segment of dating. If you really want to meet people, go outside. Go to fundraisers. Go on Eventbrite. Look at what events that's happening in your city that align with the things that you feel like will either challenge you, put you in front of a different crowd, or that you would just enjoy. But that online dating stuff, that screams desperation. That's number one, decenter desperation. Get off of those online dating sites. The first thing a man gonna look at is like, oh yeah, she desperate, like she lonely. It's someone, oh God. And that's like a career for them. That's all they do online, is try to find desperate women. And it's so crazy, because being on the other end of decenter and desperation and being cool with a guy that I was doing business with. Now I was doing business with a guy, and I actually connected him with another girl for his business. You know, it was a whole business thing, and I'm like connecting him with this girl or whatever. I didn't know her that well, but it was business. I connected them to, linked them to. They got each other number to do business. I'm thinking this is just a business thing that, you know, we all, you know, we doing business. And with me and him getting to know each other, we got, you know, close. Like, we got cool, where he was able to tell me certain things, or we were building a relationship. And in the midst of this relationship, he shows me the text from this particular girl that I connected him with. She was trying to link with him, and she's in a text message like trying to link with him personally. And I'm just like, well, when did that happen? And in my head, I'm like, she looks so desperate, and she wouldn't even know in a million years that this man is showing me this text, showing me how desperate she is, making me look at her like she crazy. And all along, this was all supposed to be business. But that's another thing too. Some men will give you the illusion that they want you, and then back off and be like, oh, she like me. Because that's what he said. Oh, she like me a lot. Well, how do you know? Like, what's going on? And men will do that. They would give you the illusion, and they see that you're desperate. They're going to keep feeding into your illusion. Keep feeding into the romanticizing that you're doing in your head about him. He's going to feed into it, and you're going to look like a dummy. All because you're desperate. And when I saw that, I just was like, child. And, you know, when you do things, desperate women do sneaky things, and they make bad choices out of desperation. I'm telling you, desperation is a demonic energy. Let's talk about it. Because desperation is causing you to do these sneaky things, to do these underlying things, just so you can get a instant feeling of gratification. That's not really going to be gratification at the end of the day when you think about it, because you're receiving it under a desperate energy. So it's already very low in frequency. So now it's like, girl's not going to give what it's supposed to give. All you want to do is end up looking dumb and drained. He's going to make you feel like he wants you so that you can keep giving up whatever you're giving that he's benefiting off, and you're probably not getting anything but an illusion, all because you're desperate. I'm telling you, girls, get out of that desperate energy. Descend to desperation. For real. Is that all my story time for the day? That was some tea, honey. So we talked about poor pussy management. Overall, when you elevate spiritually, all of this will become clear as day, okay? But this is just a precursor of the situation. Yeah, just making bad decisions. So transmute that desperation into discipline. Look at whatever bad decisions you might have made in love, or even desperation about money. You could be desperate to make money and you make all these stupid choices. Desperation is just a demonic energy. I swear, it's so low vibrational. You be desperate, say you want a car, and you were so desperate to buy a car, and then you wind up getting what they used to call them cars, a clunker. What they used to call them cars. Then you wind up just signing the line. You know, these girls getting these car notes for 450 months. All this crazy stuff out of desperation. They want a car so bad, they signing their life away for a $20,000 car that's gonna cost them $70,000. Like, desperation, decentered desperation in all forms, in situations of your life, and love, money. Don't get out of that energy, period. I felt like once I decentered desperation, I became more in control of how I showed up for myself and focused more on my discipline, having self-control, being able to evaluate certain things and not overreact. Seeing things for what they are, too. When the situation ain't working, it ain't working. Ain't no point in trying to force it to work. Yeah. So, if you ladies have any stories about desperation, or when you knew somebody was desperate but they couldn't see it but you could see it, how did you help that person get out of that energy? What do you feel like, will you leave any desperate activities in 2024 going into 2025? Because it's about that New Year talk right now, okay? Some of the bad choices, some of the things, we can leave them in the past and move forward and elevate the future. So this is all for educational, motivational purposes. No judgment. I hope you ladies enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. Tonight I am wearing the Japanese sleeve, olive, And the Fab Leisure 2-piece set is fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. It's going to be linked down below. Make sure you subscribe to SherrellDesire.com. Make sure you subscribe here on YouTube. And yeah, follow us on all our social media channels. As Desire Brand everywhere, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. All right, ladies, stay fabulous, and I love you.